Pick a card. Why did you meet them? Twin flame, soulmate, or romantic partner? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you at your reading. Hi friends, this is the intention and selection portion of your reading. If you'd like to skip this, go ahead and look at the description box below. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you guys for being here. For those of you new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping in. And for those of you that are repeat offenders, thank you so much for coming by as well. Today we're going to be reading. I had a whole different reading plan, and Spirit's like, nay, nay, not that one. We shall be doing this. So we're going to be doing, why were you brought together according to Spirit? And this is going to be a love reading. So if you believe in twin flame, soulmates, karmics, and all of that, this is your place. But we're going to be exploring an energy check initially to see if it matches what you currently know about your situation. Then we're going to find out what they thought the reason was that you were brought together and what you mutually thought. And of course, what you thought back then, whenever back then is. Then we're going to look at common reason why you both had to meet, which was a common lesson between the both of you, and what you have gained from knowing them, what they have gained, and finally the future. So we have quite a bit to cover. Alrighty. Show me what I need to see. Your selection, please. Let's go for pile number 1. You are going to be Coca, Foresight. Can I even say that on YouTube? Okay, so it's the number 36 with Foresight. Interesting. Let's leave that here. Pile number 2. You are going to be Kalendulev, and I probably mispronounced it. With Purity, and this is the number 1. And pile number 3, you are going to be the Rosemary with a number 3, Ancient Memory. So look at your piles, make your decision, and I will see you at your reading. Pile number 1, welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal with Psychic MD. If you missed the intro, I want to thank you so much for being here. For those of you that are repeat offenders and those of you new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by as well. I really appreciate it. Now, pile number 1, you chose the coca. I can't help but say it that way, and that's así se quedó, so that's how we're going to say it. Now, I did have to cover the chesticles here because I'm not trying to get in trouble with YouTube. So, why were you brought together according to Spirit? Now, initially, I feel like you, because you're the one watching this, you're the one that you believed back then, whenever back then was, that Spirit brought you together. There's an intensity. Look at the stare on this animal. And I felt like here with the coca, with Foresight, I feel like you had a great knowing, almost like this was meant to be, like you clicked, almost like it was divinely ordained. In some ways, it felt sacred to you. I felt like with this, the clouds have parted, and then we have the rainbow. It's almost like a promise that you never even understood that you were given, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, the rainbow. I was promised XYZ. So I definitely feel like for you, pile number 1, you felt like this was very natural, very powerful, and very sacred as well, because the coca, way back in the day, was about, you know, taking this herb and then going in into the temples or wherever it was that they were worshiping the goddesses or gods, and you know, for divinatory purposes anyways. But one thing that I really want to point out too is that Golka is sort of like an electric feeling. It gives you vitality, energy. And reading from the book, it's ruled by Uranus. It is one of nature's greatest energizers and stimulants. It moves through the body like electricity, pulsating and nourishing the nervous system. Being a mental stimulant that activates extrasensory perception, great clarity, genius within is also a trademark. Okay, so it had the ability to stimulate the imagination, attuning us to our ability to surrender to spontaneity and insightfulness of the present moment. And I feel like you were almost like divinely led in some way, or at least that was a feeling. That's what you felt back then. Okay, let's see if this remains where it should without getting me in trouble with the YouTube police. Now, because of all the stimulation there, yes, I definitely feel like there was great chemistry between you guys. And I feel like it was mutual. And with these mountains in the back, I definitely feel like it was almost like you guys had climbed mountains together in separate lives. And then when you joined together, it was like, wow, I recognize you, almost like looking in the mirror kind of a thing. And so I feel like this felt instantly like you had roots. You had roots together, and it was pretty instantaneous. So what did you think back then? What did you think back then was the reason why you were brought together? The Princess of Coins we have here. And the Seven of Coins. Interesting. So I feel like you didn't have any necessarily like a solid knowledge or design. You just felt like it was really powerful. The root of this seemed like almost like you were cut from the same tree, cut from the same cloth, that kind of a thing. And then roots grew really quickly, meaning that you guys seemed to gel and almost become like one being instantly. And with the Princess of Coins, I feel like it was a little bit like an all-in situation, but a little bit also of a cautionary tale, like let me double check, you know, with the Princess of Coin is not like a queen or a king yet. And so you definitely felt like you were a queen actually, or a king, whatever, we don't read sex here. And then with the Sacred Heart right here, I feel like you just really deposited your heart. It was pretty much instantly you left your heart open. But you decided to also take a pause and kind of look at and see how things were going. So that, you know, you wanted to make sure that there was reward for your effort, that it wasn't all one-sided. And that was the biggest thing I can tell you, that back then, your energy check is that's what you were feeling at the time. So I would like to look at the other person's energy check, what they thought back then as to why you were brought together, please. 2 cards. The Four of Arrows. Very interesting. So we have here, wow, I didn't realize that there are 2 people in bed right here with the arrows. I believe that is swords. And this is about healing from heartache, heartbreak. And I'm going to say that it's very interesting because you guys could have experienced or shared experiences of heartache and heartbreak of past loves or of something like really deep of growing up or whatever the case. But here we have 2 people in repose, like, you know, healing. And so I feel like it was almost like this other person thought that you guys were meant to heal each other. And there was a great sense of peace for both of you. It was almost like you against the world. Like there was a lot of, I guess, protectiveness, it felt, from the other party. And that's what they were thinking. One more card for what this person thought, why you were brought together, please. The transformation. So this other person thought that you were going to transform their lives or their life, and consequently that your lives would transform together, that it would be an incredibly different thing than they ever have encountered before, that it was powerful, that it was magnetic, and that there was no way that they could have stayed away, that it was, again, sacred, divinely ordained for you guys to come together. And they knew that this was going to change things in a powerful way. Very interesting. So the mutual thought here one more card as to back then why you thought you were coming together. Oh, and we're getting more cards. Here we go. The Nine of Cups and the Two of Coins. Mutual thought. Interesting. All right, so Nine of Cups is all about, you know, this is your wish fulfillment. This is the Holy Grail almost. This is, wow, we have all the same cups. Emotionally, we're in tune. We're the same. So it could be that, you know, it was almost like recognizing your other half or somebody from your tribe or somebody from another lifetime. And it was pretty instantaneous. I'm looking at these and almost looking at this scroll rolling up and there's stairs that you both took to achieve coming together, right? So that's really powerful. And with the Two of Coins, there was a lot of ebb and flow with the both of you. And interesting, because I would have thought, you know, sometimes this card does stand for juggling. And this could represent, you know, thinking about not going all in necessarily with each other, but definitely taking your time and maybe juggling like a partnership and school, work, or something like that, or finances. Definitely one person had more passion than the other. And I feel like that was felt immediately, like that was recognized from both of you guys. So there was something powerful happening here. And there's a little bit of a show-off thing, kind of like you guys could have talked about being a power couple. Okay, and that could have been like a big thing for you, a little bit of a show-offy energy. So that is what we have as far as the past goes. Oops, as I just whacked the camera. We're going to go ahead and go for the common reason that you both had to meet, and this is according to Spirit, okay? And I don't believe in like have to do this or have to do that, but the main reason why, if you believe in your higher self, you know, signed up for this. Things like that. But the common reason that you both actually had to meet, what was the real common reason? According to Spirit, your higher self. The Five of Cups. Is that interesting? Okay. And one more. Common reason why you both had to meet. Wow. Okay, so the Five of Cups, and this is like really ironic, isn't it? So this is about grieving. This is about thinking of the good old times, mourning things past. And I feel like you guys were here sent to each other essentially to really sharpen one another, first of all, but also I feel like to help each other through some grief. And I feel like the attachment happened instantaneously in order to trigger a series of events. I'm not saying Spirit plan this or anything, but essentially I feel like you were left in a place of mourning, and all of that had to come out and be cleansed because both of you guys were hanging on to a lot, like I'm hearing monumental pain, and monumental regret, and looking at the past in sorrow and wishing that things were different. With the Three of Cups spilled right here, this is wishing for times to be like they used to be, like old times and things like that. So I'm getting the sense that maybe both of you guys had both crappy childhoods, that there was not a lot going on in the form of like support. And this was in order for you guys to actually bring this to a head and kind of process grief together and or separately, okay? And then innocence, this is like processing grief and then having faith once again, return to innocence and taking a chance that things are going to get better, that they can get better, that mentally, emotionally, especially, that it would allow you guys to be open with one another, allow you guys to be cleansed to the point where you can trust another person. I feel like trust was a big issue with both of you. And this was a real reason why your partnership happened or situationship. And Spirit's saying, you know, that is the main reason why. And so I'm just going to acknowledge that your situation has been incredibly, incredibly painful. There's no denying that. And you could have cried a lot of tears. This other person, unbeknownst to you, if you are in separation, could have been crying a lot of tears as well. There could be a lot of denial, a lot of stuffing repressed feelings and things like that, a lot of attempts to be stoic. But in the end, it's like missing those times. But, you know, what Spirit's saying is that you're not seeing is the Two of Cups, is the friendship, withstands anything even greater than things like happy hour. I think a 3 of Cups is like happy hour. But, you know, the good old times. With a spirit of friendship, a friend will, you know, a real friend will do anything for you within reason. And I feel like looking at things in a deeper way, not so shallow, like, oh, let's eat, drink, and be merry. This will be fun, you know. But it is a return to innocence. It was almost like maybe both of you guys had lost your innocence one way or another, in a really powerful way that damaged you guys. And I don't want to get too much into that side of it, but I do want to acknowledge that that could have been, you know, a little bit of a trauma bonding. How about that? And that was to cleanse that from your energy, from your path, so to speak. So, and what have you gained from knowing this person? You know, if you are in separation or even currently there. I'd like to know what you gained from knowing them, please. For pile number 1, what have you gained from knowing this person? If you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. I'd like to know what you're interested in watching a reading about. What have you learned? 2 cards. Wow. Yeah, I feel like you personally have learned how to go within. I feel like that could have been really scary. It could have been a time of just like a lot of isolation or a lot of grieving when you were growing up, that you couldn't do it openly, I feel. And then I feel like through meeting this person, I feel like you were almost forced to go within, and really do a lot of introspection as to why this was like so painful with, you know, the 5 of Cups here and things like that. And I do feel like with these mushrooms here, they're blue. And I don't know anything about mushrooms, but it's interesting to me because I feel like this has helped you recover your voice on certain things that you really maybe had sworn not to ever speak on or speak about. And then with the Justice card, I feel like this is like clarity and balance and an acknowledgement, you know, that look at this little bear putting his foot right on top of his nose. That cracks me up. But I feel like, you know, this is justice. This is needing things in a balanced format. And I feel like that is why you guys were brought together, so that you can learn how to balance and regulate not only yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but also to regulate and check other people that come at you crooked, come at you sideways, or don't have your best interests at heart. But also to have a really good barometer, and to trust yourself. Ultimately, that's why we go within. And also, I feel like you rescued something really deep within that you had maybe perhaps abandoned, that you never talked to anyone about. It could have been a talent, a skill, a desire that you really wanted to do that you kind of gave up over the course of your life. And then, you know, during the challenge of like navigating this twin flame situation or the soulmate, whatever you want to call it, this connection, I feel like these things have really manifested in your life and you've really learned and attuned to them. So what is it that they gained from knowing you, please? 2 cards for what they gained from knowing you. Yep. Ace of Swords. And it's pressed up against this bear's lip, which is really interesting. I feel like what they learned from you is how to speak the truth, how to maneuver with truth, but I still feel like they're a little bit stuck currently. They don't see that. I feel like your reveal has been revealed to you, and maybe you're currently still working on things, and there's no shame in that. Absolutely. But I do feel like with your this other person, they've learned how to speak the truth, but they're not actually doing it. That's why this sword, the communication thing, is pressed up against their lips. Okay, what else did they learn? So I feel like you could be an example to them. And the 10 of Wands, interesting. So I feel like what they learned as well is to go ahead and, you know, 10 of Wands is repression. This is carrying everybody's burdens. This is plotting. This is exhausting. This is taking everybody's burden onto yourself. And I feel like, you know, with this other person speaking their truth and not carrying things, other people's biases, other people's judgments, other people's wants and desires. Those can be really cumbersome. And those, in fact, can be wands that never get taken off of your back. You know, expectations of your family, if they want you to go to school and be a lawyer, if they want you to marry this kind of person, whatever the case may be, if you need to drive this or move into this side of town, all of it, you know, or some of it. if this is your situation, then you know how that goes. But I feel like this person is still learning how to put down those expectations that have been infringed upon them. Okay. So I feel like that is what they have learned from knowing you and what they have gained as well. Now, I checked the bottom of the deck in the future. And this is really interesting because I meant to shuffle for the future, but I looked at the bottom of the deck and it was the last card that I was going to take anyways. This is the future, and this is having to make a choice. And this is for the both of you, okay? So even with all this electricity, this, oh, don't look. YouTube will get me in trouble. With this, you know, incredible electricity and this incredible connection that you guys had or have, I'm going to say that there is going to come a point, if it hasn't already, that they need to make a choice, and you need to make a choice. And I do understand that you're probably here because of the twin flame journey, or the soulmate, or the karmic journey, whatever you want to call it. They're all different, by the way, and sometime we'll cover that as well. At this point, whatever you want to call the connection that you came here for, you know, you've already each had to make choices, whether, you know, they moved on or you moved on, or you moved on and they were first forced to move on. But I feel like there's going to be another chance to go ahead and make a choice in this connection. And I feel like what is on the top of both of your guys' mind is security and stability. And yeah, so the final card, because this is making a choice, in the King of Cups, I do feel like pile number one, you're going to get an offer from this person. Wow. And this could be an offer that you have been waiting for quite a long time. Okay. So it's going to be up to you if you accept it. That is crazy. Sorry, guys. I'm like a bull in a china shop, but yeah, but, there's been, you know, it's been a long time in coming. I feel like separation has been like a long time. And this could be saying, even with the King of Cups, that maybe it took a while for this person to mature. So that is what I have for you. Actually do see like there would be a chance at reconciliation if that is something that you wanted, or a chance to come together, because Lovers is all about making a choice between the old and the new. Not calling you old pile number one, but you know, choosing between an old love or you know, going with a new. So that is what I have for you. Thank you so much. Drop me a line if you know, feel brave enough to share. Otherwise, until next time, much love to you. Namaste. Hi, pile number two. Welcome to my channel. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. So pile number two, you chose, I'm probably going to mispronounce it. Ooh, don't be burning the house down. Calendula. It is with the number one being featured here. And purity. So I'm going to say that initially you thought back then, whenever back then was, even if it was last week, that you were brought together with this person because things were easy, they were breezy, you guys clicked. It seemed like a very natural thing. It almost seemed like so easy that you didn't even have to think about it or work through much of anything. It wasn't an effort. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, let me hammer out a schedule because I'm so busy, this, that, and the other. It seemed like a lot easier than that. I do feel like there was, maybe you guys met at a tropical setting, or things were warm, or you met in the summer, things like that. And maybe you were on vacation, and maybe you were actually at the forest or rainforest, or you know, close to the mountains, somewhere in nature. But I felt like, you know, back then you thought that you met because you could be vulnerable. You could totally be naked with this person and feel like no shame and feel like no judgment and things like that. And that was really appealing. That was something that maybe perhaps you had not experienced before. And it just seemed like, you know, why would that not be right? Okay, so I got to move this stand because it's making me crazy. Yeah, so that was one thing. Also, I feel like maybe you guys could have met around flowers or things like that. Maybe sunflowers or oh yeah, and this calendula, I feel like you guys really helped to inspire like a lot of innocence, a lot of fun, a lot of giggling. I'm feeling a lot of kind of silliness and finishing each other's sentences or looking at each other and teasing one another. And just overall cracking up, a lot of lightheartedness. And I feel like back then you just thought, well, we were brought together just because we were meant to be, that kind of a thing, right? That's what we usually think. But let me get 2 more cards on what you thought back then. Why were you brought to this connection? Soulmate. The 7 of Cups. Interesting. Because you have a lot of options back then, and this one seems so easy compared to all the other options where you had doubt, you weren't sure. Maybe it was like, well, we get along, that kind of a thing. And this was just natural, automatic, and just seemed to come from out of nowhere. How could it not be destined? And that is a feeling I am getting. Oh, wow. With the 5 of Cups, you could have a connection of pile number 1, by the way. So this did come out then. And so I feel like this is just even to process. You know, you could have been brought together because things were really difficult, and you felt like through your difficult times, you felt like there was nobody like you. There's nobody close. And things were a little bit of a challenge, and maybe you had to hammer and shape and reshift who you were and who you presented yourself as in order to have people that were kind of close to you. But I feel like this was like really natural, and it's helped you to really understand or take in like what a best friend is in a significant other, whether you date same sex, opposite, or doesn't make a difference. So I feel like you thought, wow, this is like a best friend, and how could this not be right? And that's what you thought back then. So let's see what they thought. For pile number 2, what is it that they thought back in the day, whenever that day was? Back in the day when you guys initially met, things were going well. Why did they think you were brought together, please? Desire. Wow, that's a shock, right? Yeah, they just thought, man, I mean, I really want you kind of thing. Tristan, right? So 5, 6, 7, desire. Yeah. And so there was a lot of chemistry from this person. They liked how natural you were, how open, how vulnerable, how vibrant, how easy and breezy things felt. And it was like, well, yeah, I mean, like, I have a lot of desire. Why wouldn't I want to be with this person? That's the reason. Hello. And strength. Oh my God, this person was like focused on sex. Okay. I'm so mature. But anyways, yeah, this was all about like, look, I desire you. I want you. There's a fire within me. And typically, even the strength card talks about mastering that desire within. But I do feel like, you know, their initial thought was, I have a desire for you, and I think you're so sexy, and I just lust after you. A lot of it could have been physical, and that's what they were thinking. What was the mutual thought of this connection? You both thought back in the day that you were here for what? Innocence and balance, okay? Very interesting. Yeah, this card came out in pile number 1 as well, but innocent. And this is, you know, like taking a chance and allowing energy to flow, allowing also emotions to flow. I feel like you guys were very open with one another and things like that. But there is a raging fire back here, which is really interesting, along with like snow-covered mountains, it looks like. But it looked like you guys had a really deep connection, and you're like, wow, it was more than just the sexual chemistry. It was like, I'm able to kind of share all these things with you and return to innocence, I feel, is very similar to pile number 1. And then balance. It was like to balance out this, all of this like burning desire and like self-mastery is what I'm hearing. So you both thought that maybe this is like, you know, balancing of each other, or being around each other, balanced one another. But that was your initial thought. So the common reason why you both had to meet, but this is according to spirit. Why did you have to meet? I have to, but you know what I'm saying. So even twin flame or soulmates, karmic partner, they are different. And if you know, you know. But if you came to this reading just thinking about love in general, you know, this will fit you as well. So the common reason why you both had to meet, according to spirit, please. 2 cards. The 3 of Cups, maybe how to enjoy the moment. Interesting. How to celebrate, how to smell the roses. And what else? How to experience a good time. And then 4 of Cups. What? And so this is saying that maybe like everything in excess is no bueno, right? So I feel like with the Three of Cups, this is like party, 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 or this is always a good time. We're always carefree and enjoying each other, and the sex is always great, and but always isn't really like a word, especially in a relationship. So I'm gonna say that this was brought about so that both of you guys can learn how to moderation from each other. Yeah, the world had end chapters, how to create harmony and moderation with each other. And so this could be even in a case of a partner who is drinking too much or having too many party favors and things like that. That would allude to that as well. Now with the world right here, I feel like these are also talking about closing chapters. So Spirit's saying that the main reason where you guys were brought together also is to see that not everything is a party. There had to be a little maturity going on here. And what happens when you get bored, you have the Three of Cups and you get obsessed with like only the good old times. And that's just not really realistic. It can't always be good. And that had to end. It's the illusion, the innocence. It's almost like approaching a relationship from a point where it is so innocent that it's totally unrealistic. It's like wanting the fairy tale. Nothing wrong with fairy tales. But again, if you're looking for a fairy tale in your life, you're going to be waiting for a long time. Pile number 2. We all know that. Now with the World card here, I see Spirit is saying not only, oh wow, okay, not only is it that we expected for you to kind of complete cycles and things like that, but these cycles, we expect you to kind of complete them in a victorious manner. And everything takes effort. And sometimes you've got to take classes and courses twice, right? So this is Spirit saying that, the end motive here, the end game, there are many reasons, but the main reason also was for both of you guys to learn how to end chapters of your lives. For example, ending the idea that everything has to be great entertainment and great fun all of the time. It doesn't have to be like a big party. It can be, a mature thing to where you're really enjoying each other's company or building things together. What about those great things? So it's not always going to be like a big party fest. And, with boredom, you don't just like walk away type of things. So I feel like those chapters in both of you guys somehow are being recognized as things that are lessons that need to learn and to be healed as well, because this is a successful completion of those cycles. Now, what have you gained? Pile number 2, what have you gained personally from this connection from your soul mate, twin flame, or karmic? I feel like I shouldn't have brought that up because I feel like I have some explaining to do here. The King of Wands. Okay, so I feel like you gained motivation. I feel like you gained some color in your life. You gained, look at how different this is from your initial feeling, thought, and vibration to, to now it's like I want to own a business. What if I own 2 businesses? What if I have my own crown? And what if what crowns my throat, like what decorates my throat, is actually a gemstone designed for the root chakra, for balance, right? It's talking about balance. What if I start speaking on these things to the world and sharing what I too have grown to learn? And we have this salamander here, crawling, which I've never noticed before, by the way. So I feel like, this is just a lot of growth, how to have not only big dreams, but also to go after them, how to be a mover and a shaker. You could have discovered a lot of your talents and things like that since your separation. And, separation typically is a painful thing. But I feel like in that pain, you discovered how things are not always going to be fun, and don't just sit in boredom, kind of do something about it. But you brought out the best in yourself. But also, what you learned is the Two of Cups. What is a real friendship? We talked about like friendship and companionship earlier versus, the partyship. That's not even a word, but I feel like you've learned, it's like when 2 people stick together, or and what is really a soulmate, a real companion, somebody who has your back, somebody who does have a lot of ideas similar to you and goals. But I feel like the main thing is just a mutual respect and love for one another, and a desire to kind of elevate one another in such a way that it brings balance and harmony to everything. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I feel like now versus an illusion of what that partnership would look like, okay? Now, what have they gained? What have they gained from knowing you thus far? 2 cards. Yep, let's see. Okay, maybe. Yep, 2. Okay, Page of Cups. What? I've never actually gotten this card, I don't believe, the whole time I've had it. I feel like here, this is the other person has learned how to apologize. How to apologize, how to tune into their sensitivity, how to be more sensitive, how to be more real. How not to look at this cup and think, oh, a fish, and that's a normal thing, you know? But a lot of their Fantasylandia thing has gone by the wayward, and things are a lot more in balance. It's no longer like a fantasy of, oh, you know, you're going to be having hot sex, or things are going to be just like astronomically beautiful every single time, or living pie in the sky. This is about apologizing, about being real, getting in touch with feelings and emotions. And I feel like they're still in the beginning stages with that. But also, I feel like what they have learned from this connection is the 2 of Wands, that they have to make a choice. Look at him looking at the map, and this is almost like a swing, that he's leaning on a swing, you know? And so this could be, it's almost like this panda bear is saying, you know, I keep swinging back and forth between like making a move, not making a move, or making contact, not making contact, that kind of a thing. But there's a choice to be made here as well, and it looks like, and this person knows it, and they've learned that, you know, whatever it is that you do, it is a choice, and that's part of what is helping them kind of elevate and graduate, right, from cycles that are no longer beneficial to either one of you, whether you're in connection or not. So let us see what the future energy is here. Future energy for pile number 2. What is the future for pile number 2? The Prince of Coins. I'm very much surprised. I'm not a reader that says, oh, hey, they're going to contact you and blah, 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 blah. Because I feel like, for me, I should maybe make a separate video, but you know, it's not about love. Like, I don't think in those terms anymore. I definitely think about like life's lessons. I'm just looking at the number 1414 on my camera. But I do feel like this person is going to approach you and make a token move. And it's like with the 2 of Wands, this is really strongly imitating that panda as well, making choices. And I feel like this person, I almost said this panda, is going to come towards you and really kind of express some feelings, some emotions, and be a lot more sensitive than what you recall, okay? And be a lot more real about their emotions. So the future, what else? Magic. Okay. Now I feel like this belongs on your side. This is about like, I love magic. Is that what that means? Well, anyways, this is like manifesting. This is Vivian. Okay. So basically wizard, warlock, whatever you want to call it. This is having the ability and all the skills to bring down to earth, as above, so below. So it's like, I want love, so below. You know, you have all this, the tools, the skills, the patience, to know how to make that a reality in your life. And it's interesting because I you know, future is connection. Are you guys going to come together? I feel like you're bringing love into your life, into your home, I heard. Gosh, okay. Scared of you. 6 of Staves. This is the Wands. This is about having freedom. I feel like you freed yourself up from, innocence is beautiful, but being naive, okay? I think you freed yourself up enough to look around and be able to see that you have people around you who are really willing not only to stand by your side, but take the other person's side. That seems, it's kind of weird. A weird way to phrase it, right? But I think that this is giving you a lot of freedom for you to kind of think, to kind of maneuver, to allow people to kind of celebrate you as well, for having your head screwed on straight, whatever that means. That's what I'm hearing. But also to being a person of action now. I feel like you're radically different than what you were before. And we all know, you know, the Pentacle suits, they move quite slowly, but this is saying that, you know, you're moving on, you're accepting other offers, you're optimistic, and you're not going to wait. And I love this for you, because pile number 2, I never recommend anybody to wait for anybody. You know, I mean, the world keeps turning, time keeps timing. And things keep moving, and so should you. With that being said, disclaimer, be sure that you're getting your healing in and kind of not ruminating, but really going through kind of processes of, why this happened or that and the other, so that you can actually make better choices for yourself in the future. There is a common error of nostalgia between both of you still, and that is the future energy. So, you can, whatever it is that you want, this person can be coming back around. You could be going back around, but I do feel like you're leaving your energy open for whatever is best. You don't have your heart set on any one person, including this connection from before. So I love that for you. I think it's super wise and good for you. Kudos to you. If you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. And until next time, much love to you. Namaste. Hi, Pile 3. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. If you chose number 3, Pile 3, with Rosemary, then you've come to the right pile. For those of you new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate that. Hope you find everything that you are seeking. And for those of you that are repeat offenders, thank you so much for stopping back. I appreciate your support. So way back when, whenever way back when was, pile number 3, Ancient Memory with Rosemary. And the first thing that I'm going to say is I feel like maybe your partner currently may have crossed over. Now, this is not a prediction. This is not for everybody. Again, we're reading general readings, but if you know that your partner's crossed over, then this is your pile. It's just a confirmation. If that has not transpired, you're unaware of that, then this is not, that part's not for you, okay? But for some of you guys, this partner has crossed over to the other side, and I think that you are just seeking some closure, someone to confirm or affirm what it is that you intuitively feel, by the way, okay? So I had to move these little white candles out of the way because one of them just got extinguished right before I started your reading. And that was, I got that plus a confirmation with the spirit here and then the ancient memory. So I'm going to say that, yeah, and I'm getting a lot of energy on my crown chakra. If someone crossed over to the other side, then I'm going to say definitely this is your, wow, that candle just got extinguished as well. Okay. Then this is your pile. Okay. If that is not the case, we're going to continue reading here. This just means that you could have had a connection in another lifetime as well. So let's see how this maps out. What you thought back then, back in the day, why did you think you were brought together with this individual, please? What did you think? Sacrifice. Interesting. Okay. So the sacrifice with the 7 of Cups. And I heard like paying your dues, due diligence. I'm not sure what that's about. If it rings a bell, then great. If not, it's a general read again. Only take what fits. But I'm going to say that I'm hearing even retribution. It could have been like you felt like you deserved, things at the time that when you came together, and because of the loss, and the loss could be, losing someone to the other side, or this could be a loss of the partner in general, choosing to move on with someone else, or things just didn't work with you, however that loss looks like to you. And it could be like a self inflicted pain, almost kind of like, well, that's what I deserve. It's almost like you're punishing yourself, right? Now with this rosemary right here and the white clothing underneath, I'm getting that you're really in tune with spirit. You could deal with like crystals, you could do dowsing, you could love to burn rosemary as well. I definitely feel like you're connected to your ancestors. Why? Because ancient memory, right? With the number 3, to me, that is almost like a mediumship number, cooperation, collaboration, that kind of a thing. Plus we have, the ancient one right here. And I think that, with all of the symbols alluding to, I feel like you could be somebody who is considered like very much in tune, and synchronistic with what transpires in your life, and almost like you understand immediately, and you accept things quite easier than most people. And the reason why that would be is because you have a purity about you, and why, again, is because you're really deeply connected to the other side. So I feel like you were just really open about this connection. You're kind of like, okay, there were a lot of dreams and fantasies and things like that. And yet, this is a person that you guys wound up choosing each other for whatever reason. We'll find out more about that. But there could have been, again, a deep connection from way back when. And I think the spiritual connection, I feel like you're almost like self-sacrificing, saying a little bit of like a martyr, like, I was meant to go through this so that they could evolve, or they can grow, or they could have learned, things like that. Okay, let's see. Why did your other person think? Why did they think back then? Why did they think back then that you guys came together? The Nine of Coins. Interesting. I'm going to get one more. And the Two of Cups. This could have been like, wow, we get along so well. The Two of Cups. It's like, this is incredibly like a powerful connection. I heard the word bromance. Doesn't have to be that. But with the Nine of Coins, this is also saying that they could have looked at you as somebody who's affluent, who is well within their power, who's comfortable and happy, being single, things like that. And that they came together because they felt like a deep connection with you, but that you also had great resources. And, there's a lot of reasons why people get together. So the fact that, the pot is sweetened could have had something to do with it as well. But there's no denying the real connection that was here in between both of you. Good grief, this one literally is coming out for all three piles. I kid you not. So you might be motivated to listen to all three. I don't know. My voice is very monotone. You might not want to do that. Totally up to you. But with the Five of Cups here, I feel like this is to process grief. Like something in you guys thought that there was a need to process and get rid of old grief. And how that old grief got processed was initiated by the grief of your separation. Excuse me. Whatever that looks like to you, okay? That's quite a fascinating idea to me. I feel like there was not a lot of support. I mean, look, this is grieving over the Two of Cups. And your person, if they have not crossed over, I feel like they miss this friendship. They miss spending time with you. They miss holding you. I feel like when no one is looking, they just actually physically just cry. And they could like go for walks and things like that so that nobody sees them. Why am I tossing things everywhere? Okay, please hold. We got a jumper. So with this jumper card, it's Ace of Arrows. And this is saying that I'm speaking the truth. This is the truth in the matter, is that they miss you dearly. They miss that connection, that vibrancy. They miss the healing qualities about you. And I feel like in some ways you were kind of like a mother to them in some ways, okay? So whether you kind of like were a little mother hen, you were looking out for them or packing the lunches or looking out for them spiritually, or intuitively, you could have been, somebody who just took very good care of their spirit and soul, and they just feel that from you, whether on this side or the other side. Now, for some of you guys, you could have been literally the mother of this other person in another lifetime. I think I said that, sorry. Now, the Six of Arrows we have here, this is about moving on. It's been really difficult. I feel like you had clarity about, who your person was. And I feel like you've almost sworn a life of like celibacy, or I heard retribution. I don't think that's you, but I feel like you've kind of sworn to, I'll never find a connection like that. There'll never be another. This closeness cannot be like imitated. There is no carbon copy. And there's no rewinding the clock. But I definitely feel like you are saying here that even though you have to move on, you've taken all the arrows with you. You're taking those experiences with you, everything that you have learned in order to progress into your current situation and future. But it leaves you with, like feeling alone and feeling, I feel at times just nostalgic, a little bit sad. Yeah, I feel like just wanting truth. You could be somebody who's always on a quest to learn, a spiritual quest. You're always on a quest to see, why it is it that you're here. And I feel like when you do get hurt, when things happen to you in life, you don't turn around and blame spirit and yell and things like that, because your connection is so deep and you're so in tune with spirit that you acknowledge it. And it's almost like the pain, I don't want to say you're used to it, but some of us get used to it. And even throughout lifetimes, we could have been, having that heartache and heartbreak carried with us. And even when people come, you could have people come to you to heal, for you to heal. But you could also, you could be a healer, but other people, your ancestors could be healers. And currently, I feel like people around you could want to be around you, in order to heal them. I hope I said that accurately and clearly. But so the mutual thought that was here amongst you both is that you guys were a power couple. Literally, that was the bottom of the deck, and this vibe came out in another pile as well. But I feel like, this is about being like, we're a power couple. This is like pretty phenomenal. We get each other. There is such fluidity in between us. We really understand it. We know how to communicate. And when we're with each other, it just flowed. There was no like hesitation or second guessing or trying to Rubik's Cube things. It was very natural. So let's see. Spirit says a common reason that you both had to come together, or the common lesson. And again, have to is used kind of tongue in cheek. But this is a real reason according to spirit or higher power or your higher self. The real reason. Here's a jumper for fertility. Maybe you guys came together to have a child or to really have that abundance, that fertility. Oh, sorry, smacking the tripod. To really be able to fertilize the world with your connection, with your wisdom, with your ability. I mean, we have cats and dogs, and we have lions and lioness, and we have all sorts of things. And this is almost saying like, in spite of our differences and things, we were able to come together in a really powerful way because those differences, we saw who the other person was at a soul level, and it is so powerful. So fertility is just really, Cleopatra, I did not see that. Yeah, it's embracing your, almost like your inner goddess or inner god. And this is the ability to, Caesar, Cleopatra. Okay. They had an interesting connection, didn't they? But I feel like this was, you guys were a power couple. If you're not together, it's past tense, of course. And people really took inspiration from that when you did have this connection. Okay, so what have you gained from knowing this other person, please? Your twin flame, your significant other, this other person. Princess of Staves. You have an ability to move. You have a fierceness about you now. The Princess of Staves, this is like quick motion, quick movement, an ability to pursue your own ideas and liberties and pursue your own passions. Interesting, because it seems like in contrast, stark contrast with this, but I feel like this is even saying with a white horse, it's not really contrast, because I feel like you have a deep desire and like to communicate with the other side, to learn what the other side has to say. You could be interested in like things I don't recommend, 10 out of 10 don't recommend Ouija boards, but that could be a thing with you, or communicating somehow, or getting downloads, or mediumship, things like that. A candle scrying, fire scrying, water scrying, any of those would be on the table as well with this. So I feel like that just kind of lit a fire within you, and you're like determined to learn as much as you can. But I feel like it's really with a heart to want to serve mankind, which is really beautiful. I'm getting that vibe from this channel. Like so far, a lot of the readings are coming up with more of a humanitarian aspect, a desire to utilize your gifts and your pain even to be able to help other people. So what did they gain? What did this other person gain from your connection in actuality, please? They gained the ability to kind of pause and look and say, okay, well, let's take a little bit of an inventory. Are we heading the right direction? Are we both kind of like growing? Is this growing? Is our family tree growing? This could be even alluding to family. If you had kids with this person as well, is this a direction that I want to go? Is it yielding reward for my investment and things like that? So it's a little bit about balance. I feel like they were learning balance. Look, you guys let me know if this person has crossed over, or you know what, this could be telepathy or astral projection or seeing them as well in dreams. So if any of that applies to you, I'm really interested in knowing, because I get strong vibes of this person being on the other side, or they come to you in dreams for sure. Now, yeah, what they learned was to really, like, what goes up must come down, and how to have just a really balanced idea, because the Wheel of Fortune really focuses on things getting better, things getting, it's like the tides of life, and you got to ride those in a balanced fashion. You can't like pin your hopes up on things are going to be great all the time. And so with that, I feel like this other person really focused on being balanced and try to really maybe even help you be balanced as well in some way, shape, and form. They could have like really come to understand that music was a really great communicator. It is, what is it called? The common language? How do you say that without saying common language? Because that's not the right universal language. Thank you. Yeah, but I feel like even in this, they really evolved to a point spiritually where their attire matches yours. And I feel like they started thinking about things in a less material realm and started thinking about things more on a 5D thing as well. And so they were thinking in spiritual terms, and even like sharing bodies and how that affects you spiritually, and what type of connection can you have with other people, and all sorts of things. I think that your connection opened up a spiritual world for them as well. And that was very beautiful. And at times I think they could have gotten a little bit freaked out by it too. Been there, done that. No shame in that game. So let's see. I'd like to know, for pile number 3, what is the future of this connection? Now, not all of you guys have the story of this person crossed over. What's the future of this connection, please? The Two of Wands, making a choice. This is like a roadmap, relocation I'm getting. This is looking to see if, once you make a choice, is this going to be something that we can relocate and do things together? So I'm getting that feeling. And maybe it's discussing, can we meet for a vacation? Can we move forward? Can we come together and kind of talk about things, whatever the case may be? And one of you guys could have pursued like a spiritual path, and the other person not so much, like just not understood it. So maybe even one of you guys could have like gone to convent, or like the Buddhist temple, anything like that. Like, I really want to go to an ashram still, but those could have been like really your interests, and this person could have not really totally understood that. With the Three of Wands, yeah, I feel like there might be a little bit of a waiting here to make a decision. Wow, and hello, needing clarity. So in the future, if this person is still in the 3D with us, right? I feel like there might be a little bit of a wait. They're going to go within, right? And find out exactly what it is that they need. But I feel like here, this is even stating that they're going to figure out how to communicate, because it's on the blue mushroom. Blue for me indicates, the throat chakra, communication. And here we have communication. This panda is silent with a lot of ideas and clouds and things like that. So there's a truth that wants to be spoken. And maybe perhaps this person is like waiting for the correct time, that your person is waiting to communicate when the time is right. So if this person is still with us, I definitely feel like there's been some homeworking, pile number 3, on their side to learn how to communicate with you. What words do I say? At what angle? Do I text? Do I call? What? That kind of a thing. But for now, they are quite silent. Ace of Swords is just really observing and understanding truth for what it is, but needing to speak that truth in the end, okay? So they're learning and waiting for the right time to speak. Now, if this is somebody who has crossed over, then I do feel like this could indicate still communication from the other side to you, if that's something that you want. Again, if it's something that you are not interested in, then all you have to do is tell Spirit, yeah, that's not my jam, thanks, but no thanks. And I totally, Spirit will not bring that to you if that's not something you want. So, yeah, that is a truth. We have the Ace of Swords here. Look, and it could be a battle. If your person has crossed to the other side, you could even battle within you to even, you know, do I want this? Do I want a communication? Do I not? But this is, you know, incredibly beautiful. I mean, very unexpected. Yeah, with the Judgment, music can have something to do with, it could be a great catalyst and bringing you guys together. Oh, yeah, and if they're in, they could be sending you signs, actually, if they've crossed over. And I'm so sorry, this reading's been all over the place. I'm getting messages for both. Maybe I should have separated those that have, like, you know, crossed over to those that are still with us here in 3D. But I do feel like they could be sending you dragonflies. You could be seeing a lot of those. Leaves falling randomly when they're not supposed to be falling. I mean, who are we to lecture trees when to drop leaves and what not to? But I'm going to say that, you know, you're going to be making judgment on this as well. You're going to be really taking everything into account and seeing, hey, is that something that I want? With this here, the sounding of the trumpet, that brings about a lot of change. And quite as something I read, I guess, like each dragonfly lives about 3 to 4 months. So you could be undergoing a period of time where every like 3 to 4 months, you have some radical like elevation and ascension. I feel like a great ascension with you. I feel like, yeah, so this could be you just tuning in more with spirit, becoming more content, accepting things as they are without any design, and accepting, you know, what spirit gives as well without any fight, just rejoicing in what is, and maybe even perhaps what was. And I have the 10 of Pentacles right here. So pile number 3, if you have a family currently, I guess we all have a family, then this is saying, you know, the 10 of Pentacles, this is about loyalty. This is about generational wealth. This is about wealth in general. This is about gifts that have been handed to you throughout lifetimes, through generations, through your ancestors, through your, you know, parents, things like that, even shared abilities through siblings. But you're going to see that come more into play. Now, if this is a person here, let's just do one more thing. If this is a person on this side that wants to communicate, let's see how that's going to go. If they want to communicate, and they are, hello, on the 3D. Yeah, they do want to make a gesture, and they are kind of mulling it over. They're chewing on it. How about that? They seem to be just ruminating, kind of thinking things through. With the Ace of Pentacles, they might want to do like a small token, right? Well, the small token followed by the, I do actually want to get together for real, for realies. But the King of Pentacles here is like, you know what, you're still my person in spite of whatever transpired. Maybe you went on a major spiritual journey. Maybe they did. But I feel like there isn't even a potentially an ayahuasca connection there. Or peyote. I don't know, you know, if you did like spiritual journeying or things like that. But yeah, so that is what I have. This person would like something long-term with you if they are here. And if they are on the other side, then they're still connected with you. And this is saying, hey, I mean, you're still my person. So energetically, you know, we are going to meet in another lifetime. So that is what I have for you. Again, if you're liking these kind of reads, do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Much love to you. Until next time, namaste.